Let's open with a word of prayer. Holy God, we thank you that you are with us. We thank you that we can come to worship you on this sacred Sabbath day. As we try to understand you, ourselves, and the enemy better, I pray that our collective thoughts would come to a correct understanding. In Jesus' name, amen. Sometimes when words are used in different languages, they can have different connotations. So sometimes the words that I use perhaps aren't the best ones. I've been asked several times to explain my choice of words. So I want to take 4 words or phrases and collectively try to come to a common understanding through the various languages that we have in our movement. So there may be some repetitiveness in the words because when you translate from English to your own language, the words are always different. So the translators will have to bear with that. So I'm going to look at ego, self-protection, self-worth, and selfishness. So this is just my basic understanding of what these words mean. So I'm going to use the term focus. This is what these words focus on. These aren't dictionary definitions. I'm sure each of you, if you research the words, you might come up with slightly different nuances. So I'm going to say that ego is about identity and image, or self-image. Self-protection is about personal safety. Self-worth is about one's inner value, how you value yourself. And selfishness is about your personal needs. What I want us to see is that each of these 4 words are amoral. So that means that they don't have morality attached to them. Now, each of these four words can have a negative or a positive connotation. So my board's not big enough and I don't want to reduce my font. So I'm going to say that there is, I call it positive or healthy. So there's a positive or healthy form of each of these words. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is these four words. So ego, I'm going to put confidence. Self-protection, boundaries. Now you might have different definitions, but I hope you can relate to the words that I'm using, even though you might have your own ideas. Self-respect, that's self-worth, and selfishness is self-care. So whatever definitions you would have for those four words, I hope you can see that these are positive connotations of what they mean. Of course, there are negative connotations as well. Negative or unhealthy. So we'll pick up the same four words. Ego, arrogance, or pride. Self-protection. Emotional protection or emotional walls where you isolate yourself. You put barriers between yourself and others. Self-worth. Depending on who you are, it can either be insecurity, or the opposite of that would be superiority. So this is your self-worth. You either think yourself less than others or better than others. Both aren't positive. Selfishness, a disregard of others. So, when I spoke about selfishness, which was number 4 in our list, I had personal needs. That's the focus of what that word means. Self-care, disregard of others. So, depending upon the context of how you use these words, they can have very different meanings. It seems to me, over my life of being a Christian, that People have this idea that Christianity is all about selflessness, thinking about others more than you think about yourself. I often feel when I observe people and think about my own feelings that most Christians are disingenuous, which means that they lie to themselves when they think Christianity is about selflessness. On so many levels, it's about selfishness. I'm sure that each of you started your Christian journey based upon your desire to leave this horrible place and go to a better place. I'm not saying that's good or bad, but I'm saying that's selfish. Most people do evangelism for selfish reasons. Often we want our children or our partners to come with us to this better world because they make us happy. These are all selfish characteristics. And I'm not saying that they're positive or negative. So, unless anybody's got any questions or comments, I'm happy to move on from this discussion of selfishness now. So, just want to recap of what I've spoken about yesterday and in the recent past. Based upon what I think is credible research and also the book, The Patriarchs. Whether you're a young earth Christian or you're an evolutionist, it doesn't matter. Because both worldviews begin at the same point. Patriarchy begins when we have an agricultural model. If you go to the book of Genesis, after sin, now you're going to have to work by the sweat of your brow and I think that directive is targeted towards Adam. And for Eve, she has her own burdens to bear, which is having children and taking care of a family. If you're an anthropologist or an evolutionist, you had the same model of humanity going on. So that societal model, combined with a human being's innate selfishness, creates what we call patriarchal societies. All of you think that way. What you earn, you think is yours more than someone else's. Whether you're a child, a parent, or you're in a partnership with somebody. Any questions on that? So that's the Old Testament model of, no, not of, upon which adultery is based. This is why women are looked upon as being the possession of somebody. Primarily their father and then their husband. Of course, none of us agree to that, none of us like that, but it's a reality that we have to, I think, understand. What I think is sad, that many of us in the movement, both men and women, still either live in that world or desire to live in that world. I think many of us aren't honest about our own position on this issue. You got to. I don't know what that means. Sure. I've tried to spend a lot of time, both recently and in the past, to try to explain and understand how patriarchy was created or developed. I often sound neutral about the subject, because I think we need to be objective. That in no way implies that I think it's good, just like most of you don't think it's good. But I think it's important to understand that it wasn't directed, it's not some satanic plan. Satan didn't have some agenda that men were going to rule women and destroy God's creation. Time and chance has done that. I'm not sure if you agree or not. We now claim to be radical feminists, and I'm just observing or commenting on the fact that I've observed that both men and women in our movement haven't grown much. We still live in a very patriarchal framework. A lot of that is imposed upon us, I understand. We each of us have our own personal history, which I will call baggage. But I think often we don't think about what we do and how we behave. Sometimes they're really subtle points and sometimes they're obvious. I don't know what people's thoughts are, but one of the things is people's personal integrity, which falls under these 4 words that I've chosen. So, for instance, all of you have phones or some kind of device. And it amazes me that we seem to think that equality demands that we have an open password with those we love. That it's wrong for us to have password protected devices. So for me, that's like equality 101, that you have your own personal space. That your spouse, your partner, can't invade. Because what that demands is the creation of trust between two people. Having an unlocked phone isn't transparency, it's a lack of trust between two people. That's my view. You may have very different views. And I'm just going to add one more that troubles me. I don't know if you're like me, but I like looking at people's profile pictures. It amazes me in 2026 that I see profile pictures of married people, heterosexual couples, who don't pay attention to what they're doing when they post these pictures. Generally, men are physically larger, taller than women. I don't know if you have the word red herring in your own languages, which means it's a distraction. When we talk about the subject of equality, physical differences are not part of that story. But the reality that we are physically different does have an impact, does have a part to play in the image of equality. I don't know what you think, but I find it strange when I see profile pictures of a married couple and the woman is beneath the man, looking up at him, and he's looking down at her. I don't know if you've seen profile pictures like that, but I see them often. To me, the image of that is one of inequality. As a minimum, if you were going to make reparations, you'd have the woman higher in the picture than the man looking down upon him. You'd have her standing on a chair, looking down. Or at least the same height. So it's not a big issue, and I know we're smiling about it. but we all live in a very visual world. And I think for most of you, probably more than myself, image is a big thing. Okay, Gabriel.
Do you have in the same context, what about the fact that men are much freer or much easier with not using the clothes, for example, no shirt, shirtless,
Just
and
1 second.
something like this?
They can't. Oh. Sorry, I didn't give you a chance to finish your thought.
I just, as you were talking of this appearance, the image, I was wondering if you had something to say about the fact that men are much more at ease of not using their shirt, for example.
The sexualization of the female form is a huge problem in the world. We all know that. We all experience it. I don't know what the solution is, because we don't live in isolation from the rest of the world. So I don't think it's healthy that men and women have a very different perspective of their own bodies. And yet I'm willing to admit that I don't know what the solution is either. But if I read into what Gabriel said, I acknowledge that it's a problem. One that's not easily fixable. Okay, I'm ready to move on. I've explained about selfishness. Hopefully I've explained to some level of clarity why the Old Testament focuses on women when it speaks about adultery. We come to the New Testament, and God is going to begin to move or to change their church. There are various reasons for that, which are beyond the scope of our discussion. We know by the time you get to the New Testament, the church has become corrupted. That corruption was due to several things. One of them is the misuse, the misunderstanding of the sanctuary system. I think everybody here knows what a theocracy is. It's not a church, it's a government that's ruled or controlled by God. God will have a proxy, a prophet, a priest, or a king. But all the rules are based upon that particular God or that particular religion. You come to the New Testament and things are going to change. The corruption of the past has to come to an end. And that means God's people, Israel, can no longer be under a theocracy. So that's one major change that's going to happen. And the second is that the sanctuary system has come to its end. It's more of a hindrance than a help now. It's no longer serving the purpose that it originally was created for. So now the church is going to be under the protection and the care of a secular government. Paul deals a lot with that in his writings. And besides that aspect of being part of a government, being a citizen, we often call it state. The religion of Israel is going to be it's going to be reassessed, it's going to be changed. An easy book to go to would be the book of Hebrews. There's going to be a change in the religious law. The priesthood, connected with the sanctuary system, is all going to come to an end. And what we understand is that we're going to have a heavenly sanctuary and a heavenly priest. So there's going to be some really fundamental, or we would call radical changes that are occurring when we go from the old to the new. So we might call it a restoration of Eden, the Eden to Eden model that we have. So you would expect part of that change would be about equality. Because if you go to the very beginning, men and women, Adam and Eve, have equal rights. They are equal. I think we all understand that equality does not equate to being identical or being the same. Each of us, I suspect, has our own understanding of why Adam and Eve are very different. But it's something that I think each of us need to wrestle with individually. But they both have the same rights. And what begins to change after what we call sin, anthropologists will call it the agricultural society, is that inequality begins to feed into human relationships. It just goes from bad to worse. Jesus is going to begin to address this, and he does so in the Sermon on the Mount. So I know that I said that I would talk about the context of Matthew 5, but I'm still going to skip that. Sorry, Curtis. We get to verses 27 to 31. And Jesus is going to unequivocally reorientate the subject of adultery. And now Jesus clearly says that adultery can go the other way, which is something that's never happened before. So now it's about men lusting over women. And you'll notice that it doesn't comment on the social status of the woman, whether she's single or married. And neither does it speak about the marital status of the man, because it says anybody, any man. Any man that looks on any woman. And that's a really radical or fundamental change to the Old Testament. That's not just a religious change, it's a societal change. It's a change of the legal system. And the way Jesus gets around that is he's going to destroy the Jewish legal system, because they're going to come under Rome now. Of course, it's going to take decades for that change to happen. Because this is in the 30s or the late 20s, and the change won't happen till the 70s or 80s. It's another 50 years before the legal system is going to change from Israel to Rome. So that's one change that we can see here. The other change is how we define the sin of adultery. That it's not just the act, it's the thought. Now that is not a new idea, but it's just a reiteration of something that everyone back then already knew, and so do we. There are often the New Testament passages, the ones that we quote, but almost all of them are based upon Old Testament concepts or ideas. So, if you hate somebody, in the New Testament, we're told it's the same as what? It's the same as murder. If you hate somebody, it's the same as murdering them. That's not some new idea. You can find the same principle, concept in the Old Testament. If you want to understand who somebody is, you don't look at their behavior. You look at their thoughts. So that's a New Testament concept that's developed from the Old Testament. Can we have the mic, Laura? So this is not a new idea that Jesus is bringing up here. But it is, when you state it like this, it is a radical position to take. Laura.
But you cannot look to their thoughts. Maybe we can hear what they say, but we cannot look to this.
So, clearly from what Lara has said, not just in this situation, but in all the situations, this is the fundamental problem, the underlying issue.
Esse é o problema fundamental, o problema subjacente.
So, I'm going to ask Lara a question, but anybody can answer.
Eu vou fazer uma pergunta para Lara, mas qualquer pessoa pode responder.
You want to go to heaven?
Você vai para o céu.
All of you do. I'll work on a sort of an older model that we all have about our relationship with God.
E eu vou trabalhar sobre um modelo antigo que temos com Deus.
The narrow path that we're on. We're all familiar with that vision.
O caminho é estreito.
So, when you come to the gate of heaven, when your name is called up in the judgment, however you want to model it,
Quando então você chega diante da porta do céu, ou quando seu nome é chamado no juízo,
Protestants will say the angel Gabriel will be checking you at the gate. So, Protestants will say Gabriel is checking your record. And we say the judgment has begun, the investigative judgment, all of that. So, Laura, when your name gets called up, what's God going to be checking? Your thoughts or your actions? So, Laura said, you can give her the mic. Laura said her actions. Your actions, not your thoughts.
My actions.
So, Laura, you came to this camp and you smiled. You behaved very nicely. But you have bitterness in your heart. And you know, we're not going to be doing it at this camp, but if you're going to do foot washing before communion, the foot washing is to reconcile between yourself and someone else. Even if you didn't slap them. If you just hated them. So I'll go back to ask the question. Are you going to be judged on your thoughts or your actions to get into heaven?
In my feelings.
So now God's going to judge your thoughts.
Not exactly.
Thoughts and feelings I'm going to put together. Because actions are the expression of a thought or a feeling. I can see your hand move. I can hear your mouth speak. And I can see your face go ugly. All of them are physical expressions of either a thought or a feeling. If you agree with that, what are you going to be judged on? The thought, the thought and feeling, or the action?
The thoughts and feelings. It's hard. It's very hard.
So Lara's changed her mind and she said now the thought.
Yeah, but I think it's very hard.
1 second. Go ahead.
No, I just think it's very hard.
Hard for God?
No, for me to understand.
Okay. What seems the fairest?
Actions. No, but good actions with bad feelings is not that good, so it's hard. I'm really struggling with it. I'm just thinking about it.
Oh, well, we'll do the mic. Had you finished? Yeah? Okay, so we can all see the struggle. No, please go.
It's a little better. I think he will judge both actions and feelings and thoughts.
So you take the same position as Lara, you'll be judged on your thoughts and feelings. I know what she said, but if you're going to say actions, thoughts, and feelings, the marker is the thoughts and the feelings. Daniel.
It's fine now. Carry on. Okay, can continue.
Okay, so we're going to carry on. We're just going to go to Daniel first. He had his hand up before.
So my question is, isn't
Oh,
thinking...
1 second.
Sure.
Just get everybody. We all good? Go ahead, Daniel.
Isn't thinking an action? Because I know there are the thoughts that come to our mind, which we don't decide. But there is the acting of thinking about something. Murmuring about something. That's an action.
I want to keep it simple. Action is a physical act.
Okay. So if that's the case, I would go to Matthew 21.
Tell us what
I'll
your
do a
answer
summary.
is before, and then we'll go to
I
Matthew
think the
21.
actions are more important.
Okay.
Because Matthew 21:28, Jesus tells this parable. I can summarize it, but if you want to read it.
So we have the parable of the two sons.
Yeah, so there is one that says, I'm not going to do the work, and then he goes and do the work. The other one says, I will do the work, but he does not do the work. And then Jesus asked them, which of them are going to be saved? And the answer is the one who did the work, even though he said he wouldn't do it. So I think what you do is better than what you say or think.
The one who said, I'm not working. In his mind, he thought, I hate my dad and I hate my brother, but if I don't work, I won't get the inheritance.
Yes.
So he's got a really bad attitude, does the work. Is he good or bad? According to the parable.
It's good. According to Jesus, it's good.
According to you, is he good or bad?
It's good.
Evil thoughts, good actions. What's he being judged on?
His actions.
His actions, not his thoughts.
No. Yeah, correct.
Okay? So I've persuaded you from your parable.
What do you want to persuade me for? That's correct. What you said is correct. Evil thoughts and good actions.
Initially, you said the parable of the two sons indicates that you're getting judged by your thoughts.
No, your actions.
Ah,
I meant actions, sorry.
so this parable for you proves you're judged on actions, not thoughts.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Oh, sorry, Caesar first. Caesar, yeah, sorry, I forgot.
But can someone do a good action with an evil thought?
All the time. And if you don't put your hands up, you're liars. Let me ask you, Caesar. Are you telling me you can't do good action with a bad thought?
But that's hypocrisy because you are pursuing something, a selfish stuff, isn't it? That's self-interest.
Too long.
Okay.
I'm not arguing that it's not hypocrisy. I'm arguing that it's possible to do that. And my question is, what are you judged upon? What you think or what you do?
Actions are the results of your thoughts. So if you have a bad thought, how can you do a good action? At the end, it's not a perfect action. Ah, ok. Entonces, en español, de que, but the actions are the result of your thoughts. And that's the reason at the end is not a perfect action. And God requires perfection, isn't it?
If you are thirsty and I offer you a glass of water, cause and effect, is my action perfect?
Is sufficient, I think.
No, it's perfect.
Yeah.
You need water and you get water. It's not sufficient, it's perfect. My reason for giving you the water was evil, but the action itself was perfect.
Yeah, it covered my need.
That's the definition of perfection.
So, can you love your neighbor being self-interest?
Is love an action or a thought and feeling?
A feeling.
What's your question?
Can you love your neighbor self-interest? I mean, by you being self-interest, pursuing your own interests.
My question is, are you judged if you love or hate your neighbor? Or if you treat them properly? Treat them properly is an action. Love or hate is an emotion. And the question is, what will you be judged on? Because Lara's original position was, you don't know what people think. Then her second position was, but God knows. And that's where the complication comes. Michaela.
Okay, this time voy a hacer corta. I think we are judged by our thoughts. You can understand me?
We are what?
We are judged, juzgados, okay, by our thoughts, but they are demonstrated in actions in the trial. I think, okay, we are judged for our thoughts.
Before you move on, you've made the same position that Caesar made. I think your actions don't always demonstrate your thoughts. So I disagree with that position.
But what actions matters is the question. I think we are pushed according to the dispensation. Yes, in different tests according to the dispensation, we are pushed.
She's not understanding what you're saying.
Okay, so I can try in Spanish.
I don't mind. It's not me. I can understand what you said.
Yes, okay, carry on or no?
Can we carry on?
Okay.
That microphone isn't for us. That's what the problem is. They can't hear your voice.
Okay, I try again.
Try again.
Okay. I think we are judged by our thoughts, but they are demonstrated in actions. So, what actions matters? I think that actions is according to the dispensation we are. For example, you name something super simple about the profile picture. Or in the past, our test was use pants. So I think God knows our thoughts. But this is universal conflict, so it's necessary to demonstrate by actions. Yes, I think maybe my idea is complete, but I have more explanation if you need.
Okay?
Okay.
No, I'm not. I've got your point. I'm not saying, okay, carry on.
Eu entendi o seu ponto.
All good? We've run out of time, so this will be the last point. I'm sorry, Pedro. Oh, yeah.
In Revelation 13, we're told about the mark of the beast. And one of the themes that comes out from that is that the beast is going to place the mark on whether you believe in what the beast is propagating, or if you don't believe but you're just forced to do it. So the actions, whether you believe it or don't, your final action will determine if you get the mark of the beast. So I would think that if you just juxtapose that with the seal of God, it operates in the same way. And why I think God, when judging you, has to look at your actions. They can't take your thoughts into consideration. Is because the legal system has to be transparent. So if you can't look into your neighbor's thoughts, God has to use the same information that's visible, which is actions.
Last point, then.
I guess there are steps. And first you think. Afterwards, you think about what you wanted to do and what you should do. And afterwards, you decide. So according to that, you act. So I think God will judge your acts, but also maybe He could balance both. Because if you want to do something wrong,
Então você tem que decidir se você vai agir de acordo com os seus desejos e seus pensamentos. Então acredito que Deus deveria ter equilíbrio entre os dois.
because if you self-control and you don't act what you shouldn't,
Então se você tem domínio próprio e decide não fazer aquilo que você não deveria,
although you thought something evil,
mesmo que você tenha pensado em algo mal,
you afterwards did what you should.
no fim das contas você fez o que deveria ter feito.
And if you act something evil,
Mas se você tem uma ação ruim,
although you thought you shouldn't,
mesmo com o pensamento que você não deveria ter feito isso,
and you act it, then it will be different.
Let me stop you.
Yes.
What are you getting judged on? What are you getting judged on? Your action or your motivation?
I guess God will balance both. Because He,
If I do something good for the wrong reason, will I get into heaven or not?
I guess He knows us so much.
We can't do God knows us. I'm asking you from a legal perspective, if you do the right thing for a very bad reason, will you get in?
I guess we will the alter result, the ultimate result,
It's a yes or
the
no.
last result will be the one who will be judged. But
You've got to
We
answer a
will be
simple question with a simple answer.
well, okay.
I need a simple answer. You did a good thing for a bad reason.
Acts will be the last one.
Do you get to heaven or not?
Acts will be the last result.
Was that yes? Why won't you say yes? I'm asking you to balance it, not God. You smiled at me. Good, action. But you don't like me. What will be the result? Success or failure? No, you do me right. That's the point. You do right even though you don't like me. You don't know the answer. Oh, so yes, acts only. There is no balance here. Depending on what you either have a model of action or a model of thinking. You can't balance the two. We've run out of time. I know people still have questions. Let's close this prayer. Before we close, I'll just summarize my thoughts. Even though Matthew chapter 5 verse 28, just check if it's 28. Yes, even though it talks about the thoughts being the crime, I think what you get judged on are your actions, not your thoughts. But we are required to be able to trace from beginning to end, which goes from the thought to the action. But the criminality resides in the action, not in the thought, which means that salvation must follow that same plan. I acknowledge that several people don't agree with that. So I'll leave for us to discuss that until we're all persuaded. And do that quickly, in all honesty. Because as a movement, we need to come to an understanding of what we will be judged on, thoughts or actions. Because it becomes important as new light comes upon us, as the message develops. Let's pray. Holy God, we thank you that we can talk with one another, that we can investigate your word, and that we can change our minds, that we can be persuaded, and that we would be humble enough to acknowledge our wrong ideas, our wrong thoughts. We thank you for the privilege that we can be here, and that we can be transformed by the renewing of our minds. In Jesus' name, amen.